Hi, travelers. This is going to be a Nostradamus reading. I haven't done one in quite some time, and I've been telling everybody, threatening to do one over on Substack. And basically, my question, because we know that the midterm elections are coming up here in America, and I'm going to be doing several more of these. I'll be doing one on Britain and what's happening over there. We'll be doing one on Ukraine and Russia, okay? Iran. There are lots of little hot spots happening down here. We'll look at some of the countries in Venezuela as well, even though I'm not well versed in the history of those particular countries. But quite frankly, I'm very politically plugged in. I like to keep on top of what's happening. This election is just so much, I don't even know. I'm kind of tired of everything, so I'm not paying that much attention, but I will be voting. Hannah will be voting for the first time, and I do get the sense that the midterms is a turning point, okay, for this country. Now, my question, I actually did this yesterday, and I've been doing research for the past 24 hours, but it was 15 October at 9:33 a.m. Sorry, that's all cruddy and you can't really see it. I have it written down in my journal anyway. So the question that I posed to Nostradamus was, will the Republicans take back control over the government in the November 22, midterm elections? Sorry, that was so dark there. And the cards that he presented to me don't answer this question. So it's talking about something else. And let me show you the cards. I have the Nine of Stars. I have the Seven of Moons. Now, we saw that card come out right before the, what do you call it? The insurrection of January 6th, when I did that reading back in, was it August, November? I don't remember when I did it. Okay. And then the third card is and I want to make sure it's right because you guys know I'm having trouble with my memory right now. The Four of Stars. Okay. And grab my book, the lovely book that Jessica Adams sent to me, because it really is the definitive Nostradamus interpretations. Okay. And we'll start with this card, the Nine of Stars. The quatrain is 181, and it says, 9 shall be set aside from the human flock, being divided in judgment and counsel. Their fortune shall be to be divided. Kappa, Theta, Lambda, dead, banished, finished, or cut off. Okay. Now, this card came up some while ago too, and someone was asking me here on YouTube, was the card, did I think it meant, it might have been on Substack, I don't know, asked me if I thought it meant the Supreme Court. And at the time I said, no, it doesn't feel like the Supreme Court. I don't know how many members are on the January 6th committee, could be 9, I don't know. But it just didn't feel like the Supreme Court. In this instance, this is the Supreme Court. Now, Kappa, Theta, Lambda, those are Greek letters. And so I did the research, looked them up, and they equate to a number. So Kappa is the 10th letter of the Greek alphabet, and its meaning is palm of hand. Theta is the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet, and its meaning is a warning of death, from the Greek word thanatos. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Any Greek people out there, people speak Greek. And then the last one, Lambda, is the 11th letter of the Greek alphabet. And it doesn't really have a meaning, but the symbol itself is widely used across various groups and organizations, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. So if this is about the Supreme Court, I had to research, the Supreme Court, and what I came up with were the associate justices. And we know that Gorsuch replaced Antonin Scalia, Kavanaugh replaced Kennedy, and Coney Barrett replaced Bader Ginsburg. But in them taking place, those three, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett, and counting down from starting with Justice Kennedy. I didn't start with Antonin Scalia because he died, but starting with Justice Kennedy. Remember, somehow he just up and like retired with that, like no warning. And then I don't know if you remember that video of him and Trump walking down the hallway together, and Trump said something to him, and it stopped him in his tracks. You know what I mean? So I started with Kennedy because his leaving was just kind of weird, and I counted down, and Kavanaugh would be Kappa. He took Kennedy's seat. Gorsuch would be Theta because he took Antonin Scalia's seat. He was the first one put into place by Trump. And then Coney Barrett would be Lambda, number 11. So I do feel that this is referring to the Supreme Court, perhaps in terms of the election, that they're already divided, and that anything that's going to be coming up surrounding this election may have to go to the Supreme Court. Everybody remembers Bush Gore back in the 80s, okay? Well, now it's a different court, and there's a different makeup, all right? The lambda symbol, interestingly, in politics, it is used as a symbol of identitarianism, which is a white nationalist kind of ideology. It subscribes to the Great Replacement theory. This originated in France, but it has spread to the rest of Europe, the U.S., Australia, and New Zealand. And we know quite clearly that the Make America Great Again slogan, people in the streets hollering, Jews will not replace us, shootings of synagogues and black grocery stores, Walmarts, Christchurch, these types of, is that kind of energy of white nationalism. And the identitarianism people believe in their lambda symbol. They have it, which represents their organization, represents the Battle of Thermopylae. For those of you who don't know what that battle is, think 300. Remember the 300 Greeks who stood on the beach and defended against Xerxes and the invading hordes? Okay, and so what that symbol represents for them is their ability to defend their own home soil from what they consider to be invaders. And we know that invaders would now include women, brown peoples, LGBTQ people, people of different religions, people who just don't kind of fit in, and so who have a different ideology or belief. A lot of times these groups are sometimes based in religious or Christian nationalism. That's a phrase we're starting to hear a lot here in America. So that's first. That's what that card speaks to me about, and it definitely says to me that this is the Supreme Court. The next card, we saw this one come up, like I said before, but this is the one that kind of stumps me. The quatrain says, the divine word shall be struck by heaven, so that he shall proceed no further. The secret of the close keeper shall be so closed up that people should tread upon and before it. Now, the annotation of this says, by the divine word, it is not meant the second person of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, or Holy Spirit. That is absurd. It must be understood that a divine or theologian, called in Greek theologos, signifies a divine word. What this means is that a theologian shall be struck by heaven, that is to say, he shall die, so that he shall proceed no further in his work. Nostradamus goes on to say that he supposes that by the last two verses, that the secret of the close keeper, that is, of him that wrought secretly, shall by his death be so closed up that people shall tread on and before it. Now, I've been pondering this quatrain and this interpretation of it for the past 24 hours. I can't say that Donald Trump is a theologian because he's not. He doesn't have any ideas. He doesn't have any beliefs. However, his word, Make America Great Again, that whole Great Replacement theory, dog whistled out, is considered by some to be a divine word. Some people consider that he's been sent by God to help I don't know, whatever it is he's supposed to be helping to do. So I'm not exactly sure if this is telling me that perhaps Trump's going to be kicking the bucket soon, or that his message, because he's in so much trouble right now, or that his message will eventually die out. And people maybe, that people will tread upon it and before. I don't know if maybe they're going to be taking off MAGA hats and stomping on them in the street or burning MAGA signs. I don't know exactly what this means. And I'm very, very perplexed by this. However, we did see this card, as I said, in reference to the January 6th insurrection. And what stood out to me were the hands on the city. And I don't know if you can necessarily see. These are little hands right here, okay, on the city. And that kind of looks like an official building, like maybe a Capitol building or whatnot. And I haven't watched the last January 6th thing. I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't see it. But more information has come out. But it takes me back to during the time of the insurrection, when Vice President Mike Pence was down in the bunker, down there with his little assistant, and, his assistant and the Secret Service kept urging him to get in the car so we can take you. And his assistant kept saying, Mr. Vice President, you need to get in the car so we can leave. And Mike Pence turns to his assistant and he says to him, with all due respect, whatever the guy's name was, you're not the one driving this car. And at first I thought he meant, you're not the one who's in charge. I'm the vice president. But now, after hearing that the Secret Service already knew that the insurrection thing was going to happen, and they said nothing and did nothing, that phrase from Mike Pence takes on a whole new significance. With all due respect, you're not the one driving the car. I feel that Mike Pence was saying to him, if I get in this car, they're going to whisk me away and I won't be able to certify the election. They would have, in effect, maybe have kidnapped the vice president. And I think he knew that. I think maybe somebody informed him of that. But to me, what the hands on the city says, the image in terms of Washington right now, is that people are already embedded. They're already there. And maybe, the insurrection in January 6th was part one of a bigger plan. Okay? That this time it won't be the way they did it in January 6th, but it's going to be a different way. Okay? So that's why I feel that this election, the midterm elections, are going to be very, very chaotic. I think it's going to create a lot of confusion. I think people are going to be very upset. I do feel that there may be places, polling stations or counting locations where people are going to be showing up with guns, or there's going to be fisticuffs breaking out, or people arguing, police being called, those inside running the elections, and then once we get the people elected, you have a lot of election deniers who really have a great chance of being elected for the upcoming presidential election in 2024. They can call it any way they want. So when I say to you that I feel that this is an inflection point for this country, that's what I mean. I have said to you before that I feel we're going to have to live under authoritarian rule for a while, and I still stand by that. I had, thought that maybe, I don't know what's going to go on with Trump. If he doesn't kick the bucket before the 2024 presidential election, I don't think he's going to be running again. He has he's in so much legal jeopardy and peril that, I just don't think he's going to run. I've been saying that it would be Ron DeSantis, who's a bit smarter than Donald Trump, but really cut from the same cloth. And the final card, which is also very strange. He shall open the sepulchre found, and shall not close it up again presently. Evil will befall him, and he shall not be able to prove whether best a British or Norman king. The annotation under that just says that this meaning is perspicuous. In other words, it's clear what Nostradamus is saying, that it's obvious what he's saying. Well, we don't have a king here, but England had a king. It was founded by Norman kings, by William the Conqueror, who was a Norman king from France. And then we have eventually we got to our British kings and queens. Even King James was a Scottish king. He was born in Scotland. And that unicorn there represents the country of Scotland. Now, I don't think Scotland has anything to do with this. This is not what I'm saying. So please don't be offended, Scots. I feel that this is a representation of a connection between Britain and America, or England and America, however you want to phrase it. But the whole idea that he shall open the sepulchre found kind of intimates that there is something buried. I don't know if this means a person. I don't know if this is some kind of... I don't know what it is. Honestly, I just don't know what it is. And so that card has stumped me, I think, the most. The overall energy of this spread was the Lady, or the 13 of Sons. And this was a very interesting quatrain. Born in this world from a stolen concubine, and actually the French word was furtive, and that translates to English, the stealth concubine, set up at two heights by the sad news, shall be taken prisoner among the enemies and brought to Malines and Brussels. Now, the French Malines is located between Antwerp and Brussels. It is in the municipality of the Flanders region in north-central Belgium. It is known as Machelen, and it is the location of the NATO headquarters. So I think he's giving me an indication that something or someone may be taken, well, not taken, because it's not the... What's the international court that's in another country? Something to do with NATO. They specifically, the location is not, I don't think, a coincidence that he pinpoints this out. I don't think this is a person. I think this is a country. We know that England is referred to as a she. America is referred to as a she. But España is referred to as Reino de España. It is the Kingdom of Spain, and that is a masculine pronoun, reino. And interestingly, the word concubine. And I saw something in one of my books where someone was saying that they thought that America was the concubine of Great Britain for sure, but also Spain, because had it not been for the discovery of America by Spain, Britain would not have been allowed to colonize it, okay? And so I went back, I've got all of these books, and it says here, it says the unicorn is the famous heraldic symbol of Great Britain, while Leo the 12th coat of arms bears a great crowned eagle. And this must have been some king, I don't know which one. It says Great Britain, in agreement with American President Monroe, opposed the restoration of Spanish dominion in America, but in contrast, Leo the 12th moved for the restoration of Spain, symbolized by the protected woman. That's this card here. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure. I don't feel that this is a person. I feel this is a country. I don't understand what they mean by whether best a British or Norman king. Evil will befall him, and he shall not be able to prove who or what is best. I don't know. And then there was one other, and I don't know if in terms of a time frame, I think this is the right time frame because, let me go back. I thought I marked it. If you'll give me 1 second. I thought I marked it. It was another connection that kind of spoke to me that the timing of this is correct. Oh my God, I can't believe that I didn't save it. I want to say it was, just bear with me 1 second. It was, I think, related to the full image of this card. That was taken off. There's a full image of it. And it was quite interesting because it kind of spoke to, oh God, I can't believe I didn't mark it down. Hold on 1 second. The decryption. I remember the image. So if I can find the image, I can find the translation of it. Quatrain 181. This card. It says, the civilization of madness falls quiet. The pious mother will lead the cities of sloth, and it will fall to the father. Here he's talking about the Pope. You got to remember, everything was about popes in that era. To render them whole once again. The magistrates shall be abased, and my good people will come to be blessed. They will abandon the sciences if the epoch of the city of asses arises, amply deceived by the paid ambassador of an immoral king. Pay attention. An edict forbids abortion except in dire necessity, since it betrays the sensibility of the sex. In the oasis, scant punishment touches the abusers, though I fear many will fail. Once the good folk are embarked and on board, and snow will fall on the unconscious masters. The law on indiscriminate abortion will be devised with a decree. Oblivion, but not punishment, will be the lot of men without judgment. So again, this kind of refers to me and my idea of what I'm reading. This has to do with the Supreme Court. These other two cards, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out in terms of the election, but I think what I find even more interesting is these two stars at the top of the cards is the NATO symbol. Okay? That's the symbol for NATO. And so I feel that perhaps if chaos ensues, midterm elections up to the presidential election, I don't know what NATO can do. I don't know if someone will go to NATO and appeal. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. But I feel that definitely the midterm elections is the start. I don't know what country this is, but this is definitely a country to me. I tried to see if there were any messages in the numbers here. I don't necessarily pick up any messages from the numbers. And so what I'm going to say is that I think that we should keep our eyes and ears open, particularly after the midterm and the votes are starting to be counted, to see what happens, what transpires, what people, leaders or whatnot, step forth to agree or disagree, what messages are being said. I would not say to you, don't go out and vote. Do go out and vote. Don't be cowed by or disheartened by or fearful of what may happen or may not happen, okay? I think it's important that we still exercise our right to vote, even if maybe for a time that's going to be manipulated. And we have to remember that we are living in a time when it is an alternate reality. It really is. It's an alternate reality. And we are divided by realities. There's Earth 1 and there's Earth 2. And people literally don't believe what they're seeing. There's an old Marvin Gaye in Heard It Through the Grapevine says, believe half and none of what you see, what you hear, some of none of what you, hold on. She always has the worst timing when it calls. Really just the worst timing. Some and none of what you hear, okay? And so this is about, who do you believe or what do you believe? Me or your lying eyes. And so open your eyes and just pay attention. You don't have to necessarily formulate any thesis or idea. I say open your eyes, see what's happening, and then trust whatever your gut instinct is telling you. You can't believe hardly anything you hear nowadays. Okay? You just can't. And so you're going to have to learn to tap into your own intuition and see for yourself, what are your eyes showing you? Okay, what are your eyes showing you? And also picking up on the undercurrents of what does that feel like? When I'm seeing what I'm seeing, what does that really feel like? What does my gut tell me this really is? And so I think that's, this is some kind of trigger. I don't know. There's no time frame for it for me. He's not giving me an indication of when this may happen. But definitely, whatever this is, it's going to involve NATO. Most definitely. I just don't know how. Yes, for those of you who are saying, repeat that part about Trump, it may be that this is saying he's going to die. I had said before that Joe Biden would not live out his first term. But to me, the fact that this card has come up several times and it's talking about, there was another thing that I think it is the one on he shall open the sepulchre found. Is this idea, it's not even that, I can't even explain it, and I wish I could. And so let's just keep our eyes and open. If not the death of Trump, then this to me may be about the end of the MAGA thing, but I don't think that's going to go away overnight. It won't. It's too embedded. It's all around the world, and so it's going to take some time. And so that's why I say I feel that we will be living under authoritarian rule for some time, particularly if the Republicans regain control of the House or the government. So this is, Joe Biden will have 2 more years left to go. His hands are going to be tied. He ain't going to be able to get nothing done. And we'll just see what happens. So that's what I have for you. Until next time, be well, stay safe, and namaste. Bye.